Welcome back to the Hannahcast YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be doing September Oscar predictions for picture, director, original screenplay, and adapted screenplay. I haven't been able to do these in a while because of personal events in my life, but you can check all that out in a stream I did a few weeks ago. But still, let's just get on to the predictions, shall we? We're going to start off with Best Picture, and a lot has changed since January. No, not January, since July. Like, so much of it has changed. Like, from films dropping out to films being put in. Like, for example, The Brutalist is a big contender. Now, you're probably wondering, why do I have The Brutalist at number 4 if it's supposed to be like a big contender, especially since I'm predicting it for Best Director? Well, here's the thing. I think The Brutalist is prime to be a film that does very well at first, like during festivals, not festivals, but like, the Critics Circles awards, and even becomes like the supposed frontrunner. But I just feel like eventually this film's gonna drop off, but I don't know what it's going to lose to. Because, like, I think it's not going to win Best Picture at the end of the day. But I feel like there are 3 contenders that could take it down. One of which is Sing Sing, which I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Sing Sing's dying, it's not doing well at the box office. But, like, at the same time, it's a very weird release strategy that they have going on for Sing Sing. And also, like, the problem is, across the board, I mean, not just with critics, but with audiences as well, the scores are really good. Like, audiences are eating up Sing Sing, like those that have seen it. So, like, there's not really been a sour note here. And again, Sing Sing could win SAG Ensemble. It could, like, and this is another thing I feel like is that people need to sort of reckon with when it comes to The Brutalist, is that it's not going to win SAG Ensemble, and it's probably not going to win PGA. That's also big. Like, is The Brutalist the kind of film that's really going to do well on a preferential ballot? I don't think so. I don't think The Brutalist is that kind of movie. So I do, again, whereas Sing Sing, I'm very sure it would do very well on a preferential ballot, and it can win adapted screenplay. I mean, like, either that or Emilia Perez, or, although granted, Emilia Perez, maybe the race has gotten a little bit tighter with The Life of Chuck, but we'll talk about that here in a bit. But Sing Sing, I just feel like at the end of the day, it can come back. I think it can come back because, like, again, yeah, the box office isn't amazing, but the reactions from those that have seen it are still, like, through the roof positive. So I'm not completely panicking right now, because again, it can win adapted screenplay, it can win supporting actor, and it can win picture. That's a very solid triad of film of awards that it can win. But then you also have Emilia Perez, which also makes a good argument, because Emilia Perez, honestly, I have winning a lot of awards, like a lot, like honestly, let me look at the amount of awards I have Emilia Perez winning. All right, I have it winning supporting actress, I have it winning international feature, editing, at least maybe for now, and honestly, maybe, it's tough between that or Dune Part 2. We'll say editing for now. Actually, no, never mind. I'll put Dune back in editing. Like, I don't know. But still, however, I'll still keep that 3 up, because I also have Emilia Perez winning. Oh, God, this, okay, yeah. Makeup and hairstyling, because apparently there's a certain transformation in the film that was apparently so good that people were convinced that this person was 2 different people. So that's crazy. Score, because, like, the fact that the musical elements of this film are original, it's like, I feel like that would be kind of too irresistible to pick to win, because it's like, again, this movie is going to be an adapted screenplay. But like the actual musical elements are original, so it's like it's sort of an original musical in a way, but I don't know, it's kind of weird. And also original song. So like I have the movie winning 5 Oscars right now. So Emilia Perez could definitely do that, especially like cuz like I feel like its best prospects to win best picture would have to be like it would have to beat The Brutalist for best director. And Emilia Perez could maybe do that. Like I do have, again, I have Emilia Perez winning more Oscars than The Brutalist, and it does make sense. Now it could win adapted screenplay, but right now it's kind of going up against Sing Sing and The Life of Chuck, and that's pretty big. But again, I could see Emilia Perez winning SAG Ensemble. I could see Emilia Perez winning PGA. Actually, no, not PGA. That maybe is another hurdle that that Emilia Perez would have to face, is that it is not an American film. The PGA really only likes American movies, so it's probably not going to win PGA. Yeah, probably not. But again, it's just weird. Like it's weird what kind of path this would have to have in order to win Best Picture, because I don't really know what's going on with it. Anora could also win. I mean, hell, it did just become the second film to ever win the Palme d'Or and plays at TIFF after Parasite, which won Best Picture. It could, like, that makes a strong argument, because it doesn't really have any competition in original screenplay. But the other thing is, like, the only other, like, is it going to win lead actress? Because a lot of people are saying, yeah, Mikey Madison could win, but it's like, she's very unknown. I feel like she would be lucky to get nominated, because I just don't know what, like, I don't know how often a breakout performance wins a lead acting Oscar. Like, that's, like, really, really big. And I just don't think Mikey Madison is quite there yet. So I don't know. Like, it would have to win a bunch of Oscars that aren't. But then again, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe Honora would need to win an acting Oscar to win Best Picture, but I just don't see that. But again, I could maybe see it doing better on a preferential ballot than The Brutalist. It's just one of those weird things. And again, The Brutalist, I've already explained, you know, why I think it's very solidly in there. And at first, it's going to look like the frontrunner. I do believe it's going to win the most, like, Critic Circles awards. I do expect it to win Best Picture Drama at the Golden Globes. I could see it winning Critics' Choice, BAFTA. But again, it's SAG and PGA that are going to be its biggest threats, because and also, well, for one, it's also not winning original screenplay over Honora. That's just not happening. But it kind of does need SAG Ensemble and PGA, but I just don't think it's going to win those. So I don't know. Like, I feel like everything about that I've been hearing about The Brutalist just sounds like a movie that's going to ride high at first and then slowly die. So we'll have to see. Dune Part 2, I think, is solidly in there. Admittedly, I feel I'm starting to wonder if this is just going to be like The Two Towers, because, like, I'm starting to run out of places to put it in, especially considering a lot of these films can be win competitive, or either win competitive, or they need, like, some of the more above the line categories for me to keep them in Best Picture. So it's really, really rough. But I think Dune is going to be fine. I think Dune will be fine. But again, it's just strange considering it is, like, but we'll get into some of the other reasons, some of the reasons why I'm not so sure if it's going to be as big of a player later on. But yeah, and let's get to the next 5 down. All right. We have the TIFF Audience Award winner, The Life of Chuck. I almost said The Life of Cook. That'd be funny. The Life of Chuck is very interesting because, again, like I was not really expecting this to happen. Like, this is just like a full-on new curveball, and again, some people are saying, maybe this stat's gonna break, but it's like, nah, this stat's been going on since, like, 12 Years a Slave, and I'm not ready to say that the trend's gonna break. I'm not ready to say that. I tried doing that with American Fiction, and then at the end of the day, it overperformed at the Oscars. So I'm not good. I don't think I'm comfortable saying that The Life of Chuck is going to break the TIFF Audience Award winner getting into Best Picture trend. I don't, or the stat I should say. I'm not like I'm not. That's it's too big of a stat for me to be comfortable enough to ignore. So I'm not doing that. I think it's just in a complete unknown. A lot of people are saying, I don't know about a complete unknown. I feel like this movie is just gonna get a good amount of nominations. It's not gonna be that big, although I do think Timothy Chalamet is winning lead actor now. I do think that's happening. But we'll get to that next week with the acting categories. But yeah, I think a complete unknown is just going to be like solidly in there. It's going to get a decent amount of nominations, and then you get some of the films that are very questionable. Like, could this happen? One of them is The Room Next Door. I am predicting The Room Next Door because it won the Golden Lion at Venice. Now, some people are saying, there have been films that won the Golden Lion that did not get Best Picture nominated. For example, one of them was All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. And I think it was in 2022. But here's the problem with that. Like that's a documentary, so like we could already figure out that film was not going to be nominated for Best Picture. Because it's just not that kind of movie, and some people will say, well, what about Happening in 2021? That didn't get nominated. True, but also the cast and crew are not really well known. Like you can imagine why that would miss, because it's like no one it's not really being done by anybody that's like significantly well known, or not a lot of eyes were on it to begin with. And same thing goes with The Woman Who Left, From Afar, like a lot of these other films. But with The Room Next Door, I do feel like it's different because it's being directed by Pedro Almodovar, who's won an Oscar, and it stars Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore, who are Oscar winners. I think this film, I think what separates The Room Next Door from something like Happening is that the names attached to it are so big, and they are respected by the industry in a big way. And so I feel like this is going to be different. I feel like it's different, that it is going to be that film that winning the Golden Lion that gets in. It just kind of like, how do I describe it? It's like, I just feel like because of the names attached, it's bigger. It's a bigger film than something like Happening. And, again, and a lot of people, and some people have said it's one of Almodovar's worst films, but the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, they're still very good. It's still, I think it was at 93 or 95%, and the reviews are not, and the average rating isn't amazing, but it's around the mid 7s and stuff. I think this film is ultimately going to be pretty agreeable, and it's not going to be, it's not going to win anything, I don't think, but I don't know. For those people that are saying, the Golden Lion winner doesn't always, get nominated for the Oscar. It's true, but I feel like when you look at those that won the Golden Lion that didn't end up getting the Oscar nomination, you can see that the crew behind it were not really that well known to begin with, and they probably weren't going to happen either way. So yeah. Then you got Conclave. I think Conclave is one of those movies where it's probably going to get a few nominations, but it's not going to win a thing. But even then, admittedly, I'm kind of iffy about Conclave because I don't have it in director, at least not in the 5. But right now I have it in Best Picture, Best Lead Actor, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Editing, and Best Score. Okay, that's not bad. But even then, some of those are kind of iffy. Is it gonna get in? So it is tough. I right now I'll put it in, but I would not be surprised if I take it out later on. I don't think Edward Berger is gonna get nominated for this film. I just feel like it just feels like his movies are just not really director bait. So we'll have to see. And then I will still have in The Seed of the Sacred Fig, which I know a lot of people have dropped out, but it's I'm still looking at the reviews, and the reviews are still very, very good. So, like, I don't feel like it's going to be a clean walk. I don't think it's going to be like, you know, The Zone of Interest or Anatomy of a Fall, where it's like, at the end of the day, it's guaranteed to get that slot. But I do think BAFTA will save it. It's going to get nominated for a few BAFTAs, and that's where we will see its strength. It's probably not going to get into the Golden Globes or stuff like that. But I think as long as it performs well at BAFTA, I'll be fine. I'll still be fine with it. And now we have the films after the top 10. Like, what are the next films in line, I feel? Well, I did take out Blitz, which sounds crazy, but I'm starting to run out of room. And honestly, when I was looking back at my predictions, I'm not predicting Blitz for a lot of awards, to be honest. Like, when I had it in picture, I had it in for picture, what was it? Original screenplay and production design. Like, those are the three categories it would get. So then I started realizing maybe it's just not strong. Maybe it's not good. I mean, granted, we'll have to see for sure when the reviews come out for this movie and if it, like, you know, if people really like it. But admittedly, I'm starting to run out of space for Blitz and other categories. I'm starting to wonder if this is just like, you know, Widows, where it's perceived as an early frontrunner, but then it just kind of dies. So we'll have to see. And I put, like, the funny thing is, throughout, during the summer, I took out Juror number 2 completely because it just looked like it was not going to come out this year. But then, you know, recently, Joker Folly Ado not only got significantly worse reviews than the first film, but its opening weekend is tracking to be way worse than the first one as well. And surprise, surprise, Warner Brothers said, hey, Juror number 2 is coming out this year. So that's kind of funny. But at the same time, I still get it. Like, like, if it's back in this year, I can still see this film getting in for picture, director, original screenplay, editing, maybe supporting actor. But again, it all depends on, like, how strong this film is. Like, if this does play very well, then I'll probably put it back in. I'm just really curious to see what's going on with this film. And granted, I'll talk more about the directing aspects of this film because I think maybe we could be underestimating that. But Juror number 2, I'm keeping my eye on that. Number 13, I have Saturday Night. Man, this film was riding high at first. Like, people were like, "Oh man, this is like a Best Picture guaranteed. It could maybe win original screenplay." And then this morning happened, and boom, like, it didn't even place at TIFF. It didn't even place. Like, this, like, Saturday Night was practically like the TIFF Audience Award was probably, or at least the TIFF Top 3 was practically gift wrapped for Saturday Night, and it still couldn't get in. My suspicions that Saturday Night was probably going to be like a film that gets a few precursors, like maybe even PGA, but ultimately, like, just because it's a very populist film doesn't mean it's going to get in at the Oscars. At least not in Best Picture. And I fear I might have been right about that. Because, like, there's no reason why a crowd pleaser like this should have missed TIFF. Like, that is insane. I still, like, if it were to get into Best Picture, like, I could see a decent package for it. I could see original screenplay, editing, score. But honestly, probably it. Like, 4 nominations. Like, would that be enough for a film like this? I don't know. But it is crazy. Another film I've put back on the list is The Apprentice, because apparently they've cleared up all of the studio, the studio behind the film has cleared up all of the legal stuff, bought the Trump supporting producers, stake in the film back, and they're now they're full on trying to release this movie before the election. And I will say this is another film I'm very much keeping my eyes on, because for one, it's not a badly reviewed film. Like, people do like it, but a movie that people like, and you put this in election season, you could very well see that this could still get some big buzz, because Well, for one, I think no matter what, Sebastian Stan is going to get into Best Lead Actor. I feel like the idea of nominating a Trump performance during an election year is a bit too irresistible. At least with a film that's like pretty well reviewed as this, like one that's like generally agreeable. And you could maybe see this getting like original screenplay, editing, supporting actor. I'm just really curious as to how well people respond to this. I'm very curious about that. And I know some people are going to say, well, if Trump loses the election, then people aren't really going to care anymore. I don't think that's going to be the case because, you know, they nominated... You know, let's look back at, well, for one, let's look back at 2020. Borat's subsequent movie films still did very well at the Oscars, getting adapted screenplay as well as supporting actress. And by that point, Trump had lost the election that year. So, I think the reason why The Apprentice would still be safe even if Trump loses is because, Like even if he loses, he's still going to be all over the news. He's still going to talk about like, the voting was rigged and stuff, or like, you know, there's voter fraud. He's going to be in the news talking about this shit, and he's probably going to do something really fucking bad. He's probably going to do something really, really bad after he loses, and he's going to be all over the news again. So, like, I mean, granted, when it comes to someone like Donald Trump, he doesn't really stay out of the news. Like, that's the thing. Like, people will still pay attention to what's going on regarding what he's saying. And I feel like that, like, if he loses the election, that's not going to be consequential to The Apprentice because people are still going to be, like, diehard against Trump. Again, I just want to see how this plays box office wise and when more general audiences see it. I'm very fascinated about that. And again, I do think Sebastian Stan can still get nominated for lead actor, so it does have that going for it. Nickel Boys is interesting because the presentation that was being described during its premiere is very fascinating. Like, it's a movie in first person, it's very ambitious, and the trailer looks very good, but there has not really been any buzz since. Whereas with The Brutalist, people are still talking about The Brutalist. They won't shut up about The Brutalist. But Nickel Boys, I don't know. I feel like, well, for one, it's not really going for a lot of nominations. Like, picture, adapted screenplay, maybe cinematography. Now, granted, picture and screenplay is a good combo, but it's like, I don't know how well this is going to play to a large crowd. And again, we're already seeing that the list is getting pretty crowded at it as is. So Nickel Boys, I just don't know if that's happening right now. We'll have to see what happens come, you know, the critic circles, see what's going on, but yeah. Then we have The Piano Lesson, which looks a lot more cinematic than I thought it would be. Yeah, like when you look at the trailers, and even when people coming out of it, they're saying that it is way more cinematic than like than Fences or Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Like it feels more like a movie, but people are also saying that it has a supernatural element that might turn away Oscar voters. And another big thing, Samuel L. Jackson is gone. He's not getting nominated for that Oscar. Like the reactions that I was reading, there were very few of them that singled out Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, more people were talking about John David Washington and Ray Fisher over Samuel L. Jackson. Like, that's not good for him. So he's not getting nominated. He's not going to get nominated. Now, I do feel like this would hold a better chance in adapted screenplay than something like Ma Rainey, because this one actually, again, it does seem like it's taking more advantage of the film medium. But, yeah, like, again, a lot of the other films just seem to have popped off a lot more during the fall festivals. Gladiator 2 at number 17. Oh man, I'm scared. I'm scared. Like I don't know why I'm putting it this high, because again, what have we said about Ridley Scott movies? Do not trust Ridley Scott movies. The problem is that, you know, Denzel Washington's looking like he's going to get a nomination, and the movie could definitely get 3 nominations for visual effects, costume design, and production design. And if this movie's very good, but the problem is like I don't know what this movie would need to do in order to get nominated for Best Picture, because it is coming off of Gladiator, the Best Picture winning Gladiator. And it's not like, you know, Avatar: The Way of Water, where, you know, like James Cameron was dedicating all of his time to making a sequel to Avatar. So like it's not really like that, because Ridley Scott has made a lot of movies since then, and like ever since 2000, the year 2000, like ever since the turn of this century, like Ridley Scott has only had 2 Best Picture nominated films: Gladiator, which won, and The Martian. So it's like, I don't know what to do with Gladiator. Like, I don't think I don't think Gladiator 2 is going to get nominated, so we'll have to see about that. Night Bitch is fascinating, because I feel like when the trailer came out for Night Bitch, I was like, oh, this movie's cooked. Like, this movie's cooked. Everyone hated the trailers. But then the reviews started to come out for the movie, and it's like, the movie has a lot of fans. A lot of really, like Night Bitch seems to be one of those movies where the people who like the movie really, 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 really like it. Like, it's almost kind of like Don't Look Up in a way, although I think it's going to be more critically well received than Don't Look Up. And I still think Amy Adams could win lead actress, so, like, Night Bitch could maybe get in. And there is also the idea that, you know, but I was about to say maybe Night Bitch could get nominated for adapted screenplay, but screenplay is already so crowded as is. I don't know. Challengers, a lot of people are saying that maybe this could come back, considering Queer doesn't really seem to be doing a lot. Like, we'll talk about, you know, I'll probably take this time to talk about Queer and Challengers. Queer has released, or like not released, but it's like, it's premiered at the festivals, and it didn't really make a peep. No one, like, people don't seem to dislike it that much, but people don't really seem to care, which is kind of what I thought it was going to be like. I kind of figured Queer was just not going to hit audiences that way. Whereas with Challengers, like, people are still to this day talking about Challengers. So I still think Challengers holds I think it has a better chance to be nominated for Best Picture than Queer, but I don't know. I feel like the Oscars might consider it too populist. So we'll have to see about that. And then the final 5 for Best Picture, again, we'll do director and the screenplay categories after this. We have Joker Folie à Deux. Man, I'm not gonna lie. I think I have this film only getting costume design at this point, because the reviews are not amazing, and as much as it looks like it's deserving of cinematography and sound, I mean, it's probably not going to do that because it's not in Best Picture. And, or at the very least, like the reviews for this movie are just not very good at all. Or maybe not at all. We'll have to see how it goes, I guess. But I don't know. Like, this film would have to, the fans for this film would have to be really, really, like, outspoken again. But again, like, it's not even doing well it's tracking to not even do that well at the box office. So is it really, really in? I don't know if it is. So we'll have to see. Wicked, I mean, we'll have to see how this goes. I don't think it's going to do much. I think it does maybe, like, get a few nominations. I mean, right now, I guess I'm only predicting it for costume design, but it could get production design. It could, like, if they really wanted to, they could give it visual effects. I think people might be sleeping on that a bit too much, but, well, it depends on if it gets shortlisted. If it gets shortlisted, then I could definitely see it getting nominated for visual effects, but, again, we'll have to see about that. A Real Pain, I don't really buy it. I mean, I feel like out of all of, you know, Searchlight's movies, I would definitely see A Complete Unknown and Night Bitch above it. I think this movie is just going to be kind of a bust. It's not really going to get any nominations. Dee Dee, I was wondering if this was going to happen, but it looks like it might not be happening after all. People don't care about it. And then Madam Web, we're still holding out hope. And Madam Web sweep, you know how it goes. Then we get to Best Director. And again, I don't have The Brutalist winning Best Picture, but I do think it's winning Director. But I do feel like if any film could challenge The Brutalist, it would be Emilia Perez. Because, again, I do have Emilia Perez winning 5 Oscars, so it would make sense if Jacques Audiard won Best Director. But it's just tough. It really, really is tough. So we'll have to see. Again, I don't know where the tide would have to turn for Emilia Perez anyway Like, where would the tide have to turn? Because, like Bong Joon-ho won Critics' Choice, sure, but also like Parasite was also like one of the most acclaimed films of the year, and Emilia Perez is just not. So it makes me wonder if it needs like screenplay or something to go along with it. But again, it's just a strange package. I don't know what's going on. So right now, I will still stick with Brady Corbett winning Best Director. Sean Baker for Anora, I think, is safely in. I mean, if Anora wants to win Best Picture, I mean, good God, it could do Original Screenplay, Best Director, Best Picture, and maybe that's all it would need. But that would be kind of nuts. I do have Pedro Almodovar for The Room Next Door because he is like the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? That auteur kind of director, like that again. That would make sense for him. And Mohammed Rosoloff, I think that's his name. The Sea of the Sacred Fig. I mean, if the Sea of the Sacred Fig's in Best Picture, I would say he gets into Best Director. I just don't think it can get Best Picture without that. But another thing that I have noticed is that when you look at this lineup, it's not really, there's like no like directing legends in there. Maybe not directing legends, but it's like household name directors. There's no household name directors here. Like the biggest you got is maybe Pedro Almodovar, but I don't think random people would know who that is. Because last year you had Martin Scorsese and Christopher Nolan. And I'm trying to think of who else could have been also that. Hold on a second. Yeah, there's a stink bug in my room. I hope it doesn't come over here. But regardless, last year he had Christopher Nolan and Martin Scorsese, and I'm like who else? There was They were the big name directors. Then the year before that, you still had Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans. And he was a pretty, obviously he's a big name. The year before that, you had Kenneth Branagh, Paul Thomas Anderson, and Steven Spielberg. The year before that, you at least had David Fincher. The year before that, you had Todd Phillips and Martin Scorsese. Or maybe not Todd Phillips, but like Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino, and you could also maybe argue Sam Mendes as well. The year before that, you had Alfonso Cuarón. You had Spike Lee. You had Adam McKay. Before that, you had, Christopher Nolan, Paul Thomas Anderson, Guillermo del Toro. And people knew who Jordan Peele was, so there's still that. The year before that, Mel Gibson. The year before that, you had George Miller. The year before that, you had Wes Anderson. The year before that, Martin Scorsese and Alfonso Cuarón and Alexander Payne. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like every year, there's some like really big name director nominated, and right here, it's like again, your biggest name is probably Pedro Almodovar, but I don't think that a random person would know who he is, which is weird. Again, that's why I'm kind of keeping my eyes, even though it's all the way down at number 11. That's why I'm really keeping my eyes on juror number 2, because that does make sense. Because if it's in Best Picture, it's probably also going to get Best Director, because Clint juror number 2 is Clint Eastwood's last film directing. And from the sounds of it, it doesn't sound like it's going to be like controversial like American Sniper or Richard Jewell. It sounds like it could be like a very kind of agreeable courtroom drama type deal. And Clint Eastwood fits the bill of a very, very well-known director getting into the director lineup, because right now, we don't really have that. And maybe you could also argue Denis Villeneuve could be that, for Dune Part 2. But The problem is, I feel like the director's branch of the Academy has consistently shown that they don't really like, big budget studio movies in Best Director. At least in recent years, they've kind of pulled back from that. So I don't think Denis Villeneuve's getting in. Edward Berger, I feel like, would seem like he's getting in. I mean, he's definitely going to get BAFTA, but I don't know. Something about the way Edward Berger directs things shows that he's probably not going to be nominated for Best Director for a while. I don't know what it is, because I thought he should have I thought he should have gotten nominated for All Quiet on the Western Front. But again, it feels like maybe they just feel like his movies are a bit too commercial. I don't know. Greg Quedar for Sing Sing. maybe he could maybe get in for DGA. I don't know for sure, but but I don't think Sing Sing is going to be big enough to where he gets director. If it is, oh my god, we're taking it, like, it's absolutely winning Best Picture at that point. Number 9, Mike Flanagan, The Life of Chuck. You could maybe make an argument that Mike Flanagan would be that big name director, but again, he's not really like a legend that someone like, Clint Eastwood is. Or even, you could also argue Jason Reitman. Jason Reitman could also fit that bill, but Saturday Night I don't think is getting in Best Picture, and I don't know how strong he would have to be to get into Best Director. So, but again, he makes sense too. But I'm looking down the list as well. James Mangold for A Complete Unknown. I don't think James Mangold is that well known of a director to maybe get in. But at the same time, I do have A Complete Unknown in Best Picture, but I don't think it's going to be a film that gets nominated for Best Director anyway. Like, I could maybe see him getting DGA, and I will keep him in the list for that. Like, I'll keep him in consideration, but I just don't know if that's happening. Steve McQueen for Blitz. I have no idea what's going on with Blitz, but again, I already talked about Jason Reitman. Ramel Ross from the Nickel Boys. What Ramel Ross is doing is very innovative with the Nickel Boys, but again, I just don't know if the Nickel Boys is going to be that big at the Oscars. Malcolm Washington for The Piano Lesson. I don't know. None of the August Wilson play adaptations got that, so I don't think so. Luca Guadagnino for Queer. Probably not looking like that's going to happen. Ridley Scott for... I will say Ridley Scott does match that for Gladiator 2. Like, he is like a really big, well-known director. But again, it's too much of a big spectacle film. And I don't think the director's branch likes that anymore. And right now, like, I still don't know what's going on with that film in Best Picture. I mean, hell, Ridley Scott didn't even get nominated for The Martian. So, like, I feel like that just kind of says, more about that they don't like big spectacles and stuff. Marielle Heller for Night Bitch. That movie would have to be really, really, really strong for me to predict her. So I'm not doing that right now. Todd Phillips for Joker Folie à Deux. I don't think the response is there for Joker. Sean Wong for Dee Dee. Probably not looking like it's going to happen. Original Screenplay. I think this is a clear runaway win for Anora. Honestly, Anora looks like it's going to be very, 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 very strong for original screenplay. The Brutalist, I guess, is its biggest contender. But if The Brutalist started to win original screenplay, oh my god, like, maybe it is bigger than we thought. So we'll have to see. Seed of the Sacred Fig is honestly the last Best Picture nominee I have in this lineup, which is kind of weird. But yeah, and there also is a good correlation that if a non-English language film gets nominated for Best Picture, it gets director and screenplay as well. So I'll go with that, especially since, original screenplay is not really looking like it's going to be that competitive, at least in terms of Best Picture nominees, because I do want to prioritize those. I think Saturday Night will get in. It's fine. Like, it'll get it. It'll at least get this. And I have Blitz at number 5, because it's probably the closest to a Best Picture nominee that we got, but I don't know. Juror number 2 could also maybe happen, especially since it's a courtroom drama. Again, I'm really fascinated to see what the response for Juror number 2 is, because if it's really strong, again, I can put it in Best Picture, Director, and a lot of other things as well. The Apprentice. This movie, again, this would have to be really, really strong for it to get in, and I don't know. Now, granted, again, original screenplay is not looking very competitive, but I don't know if The Apprentice is written by anyone in the Writers Guild of America, which apparently the Writers Guild Awards, both nominations and the award ceremony are coming before the Oscar nominations and the Oscars, which, yay, finally, after 2 years of just doing things after the Oscars for some reason that doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah. A Real Pain, I don't know. Challengers, Hard Truths, Dee Dee, His Three Daughters, Kinds of Kindness, We Live in Time. I'm just kind of padding out what the possibilities could be. I don't think any of this is happening, though. And then we get to Adapted Screenplay, which I have no idea what I'm doing with this category. Because if I'm predicting Sing Sing to take Best Picture, it needs screenplay. But on the other hand, The Life of Chuck just won the TIFF Audience Award, and screenplay winners from those are pretty, happen pretty often. So I don't know what's going on if the life of Chuck is if the life of Chuck is win competitive or not. I don't know. And that's another thing. Emilia Perez, I feel like it needs to either win director or screenplay in order to win Best Picture at the Oscars. And I just is it going to win director? I just don't know. It's so weird. Like the life of all three of these movies could win adapted screenplay, but it's just such a hard circus to juggle. Like what could win what and all that. It's really tough. The Room Next Door, again, I have it squarely in Best Picture, and I don't I feel like I don't know, maybe I could drop it out of adapted screenplay. But I don't know. It does make sense for a film like this to be in for screenplay, but again, it's just tough. And Conclave, I mean, I kind of have to keep Conclave in here if I want to keep it in picture, but I don't know. There still is a chance that it just might slip, because I don't like that I have Dune Part 2 out. I don't like that I have, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, Dune Part 2 was even better than the first film, had even more rich writing than the first film, had even more rich, story, world building than the first film. Everything about Dune Part 2 and the way it's written and its story is even better than the first film. So why don't I have it in? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. The Life of Chuck really threw things for a loop for me. So I don't know what's going on with this film. Because maybe my rationale is that, Dune Part 2 is like Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, because that didn't get director, or I don't think it got screenplay. Did it get screenplay? Let me see if it got screenplay. Yeah, no. Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers did not get nominated for adapted screenplay, which is really weird, and it only won Best Sound Editing and Best Visual Effects. That's a yikes for that could maybe be a yikes for Dune Part 2, because maybe they'll just see this one as oh, we already nominated the first film for a bunch of things and gave it a bunch of awards. We'll just this is this is we can give more movies opportunities for this or something like that. I don't know. And it could probably just maybe only win a couple of Oscars, and what Oscars it is nominated for are mainly just the text. But again, it's following Lord of the Rings a bit too closely for my taste. Why is it following Lord of the Rings? I don't know. A Complete Unknown, I have it in because it's in Best Picture, but and the Nickel Boys, those have to be very, very much stronger in Best Picture for me, because that's the problem. I have 7 films in Best Picture that are in contention for adapted screenplay. And so, a lot of the other things, it's all right, yeah, Night Bitch makes sense. The Piano Lesson maybe makes sense, but there's just too many Best Picture nominees in there. Queer, maybe. The Fire Inside, that's another film I forgot to mention. The Fire Inside. The Fire Inside is dead. I thought, that was my big swing prediction. I was maybe it could get in. Actually, because, you got Barry Jenkins writing the screenplay, and the reviews were good, but not amazing, and so it just died. It just died. Rest in peace, The Fire Inside. I was rooting for you, but yeah, it doesn't look like it's doing anything. Hitman, maybe Hitman could maybe get Writers Guild. Hitman could definitely get the Writers Guild Award nomination. Gladiator 2, I don't know if it does that. Joker Folie à Deux here, The Outrun. I don't know. That might just not happen. And guys, those are my predictions, my September predictions for the Oscars in Best Picture, Best Director, and the Screenplay categories. Next week I'm going to be doing the acting categories, and then the week after that I'll be doing the tech categories, and then after that we'll just go back all over again, and we'll start, and we'll do picture for week 1, and what I mean, all that sorts of cool stuff. But yeah, I do want to let you guys know that YouTube memberships, I should probably put the membership thing right here. Yeah, all right, yeah. YouTube memberships are up. We got a lot of member exclusive content up there. I'm doing a lot of those, and you can get access to members only live chats, members only polls, and a bunch of other things, including these fun little emojis. It's all sorts of fun. Consider supporting me that way. It helps the channel out, and I do want to do more things with this channel, but I need your help to do so. And be sure you hit that subscribe button, because if you don't, the Oscars will be canceled.